Genesis chapter 25. Then Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua, and Joksan begat Sheba, and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Epher, and Hanoch, and Abida, and Eldah. And all these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son while he yet lived, eastward, unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life in which he lived, 160 years. Then Abraham gave up the ghost, and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahairoi. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generations: the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibshan, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest towards Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Paddan Aram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. One of the things that we learn from a chapter like this is just how much summarizing there is done, and how much time passes, and how briefly some elements are commented on. It talks about Abraham marrying Keturah. It doesn't tell us anything about her. She just pops in. But it also tells us that she had 6 sons by him. Now, it talks about the 12 princes, the 12 sons of Ishmael, and lists those in keeping of the promise that was made to Abraham by God, that Ishmael, because he was Abraham's son, would be looked after, and 12 nations, 12 tribes, 12 princes would come out of him. That was happened. Abraham dies at the age of 175. He's married in the same cave that he bought and paid for Sarah's burying place. And then Ishmael and Isaac bury him. And then Ishmael goes someplace else, and we're dealing with Isaac. And we find that Isaac entreats the Lord for Rebekah, because Rebekah is barren. We find out that when Isaac is 60 years old, she bears him 2 children, Esau and Jacob. So she obviously had 20 years of being married to him. This incredibly beautiful woman, more beautiful than any man had ever seen before. In ancient Israel, if you were a woman and did not have children, that was considered the ultimate curse from God. That was absolutely horrible. That was considered you had done something horrible to be prevented from having children. That the neighbors would look on you and sort of, gee whiz, what a rotten person you must be. If only they knew what you had done, you might be able to make amends for it. But as long as you were living and not having kids, then you were some kind of secret sinner or something rather. It was really bad. And she has 2. And the first one, Esau, is red and hairy. Second one, Jacob, comes out. They're doing battle in her womb and all the rest of it, and they come out, and they're twins. Very different twins, obviously not identical twins. And Esau grows up, and he becomes a mighty hunter and a cunning man. And it says in there that Jacob was a plain man. And that translation is another one of those things where we actually have a different translation for it now. What it really means, that word implies complete, well-developed, all well-rounded. He wasn't a hunter the way Esau was. He was a man who looked after everything. He was skilled in all kinds of things, not just hunting like Esau. Now, Isaac loved Esau because Esau would bring him in the venison. He'd show up and say, hey, Dad, here, have a piece of this deer, or have a piece of this ibex, or have a piece of this whatever. And Isaac loved that. But Rebekah, she loved Jacob. She preferred Jacob, just as Isaac preferred Esau. And then the story is one day. This story really is another one of those things where a lot of stuff is left out, so you have to understand what's happening. The birthright blessing was given by the father, patriarch, to the oldest son, or the more righteous son, or the preferred son. And it contained all the rights of presidency, all the presiding authority, any special blessings that the father had, and usually came also to the sole heir, the guy who inherited everything. And that was Esau's by right. And Jacob was making some soaking some grain, which he was going to make into a stew. Esau comes in and says, give me some, or you're going to die. Jacob says, well, sell me your birthright then. And I think this had been sort of a challenge for them over the years, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. It had to be an ongoing thing. And Esau said, well, I'm going to die. What difference does it make? Sure, they made a deal. So Jacob bought the birthright for what's called a mess of pottage. He gave him some bread, gave him the soaked grains, the soup, stew, whatever it happened to be. Esau left, and it says Esau despised his birthright. In other words, Esau didn't care for being righteous. We find out in the next couple of chapters he marries local women. He was not going to marry somebody who was of his religion, which was critical to his right, as far as God was concerned, to him to carry on a birthright and to be a covenant man. So he gave that up for a bowl of cereal. Not really all that brilliant thing to do. Caused lots of problems for him later on because he was ignorant about it. That's how it went.